The British Truck Racing Association Championship 2014 is brought to you by HRVS and Imperial Commercials. Hi everyone, welcome along to Donington Park for the 5th event in the 2014 British Truck Racing Association Championship. Since you were last with us, we've had 2 races at the Nürburgring which have left the championship as close as ever. 2 wins out of 2 for Chris Levitt sees him maintain 2nd position in Division 1, chasing the championship leader Matt Summerfield. Meanwhile, in Division 2, Ryan Smith took his first 2 wins in the category to maintain the pressure on championship leader Simon Reed. 5 races once again at Donington Park to deal with. Let's catch up with newcomer Ray Coleman.
Well, Ray, this is your first weekend with the championship. How are you finding it so far?
Very exciting, especially with the weather today.
Now, what's brought you to this championship?
I've been around trucks all my life, and it's something that I've always wanted to do and looked at doing it in the early 90s. But times weren't right then with recessions and everything else and building up a business. Now I feel the sort of time was right to get involved in it and live the dream. I think it's a sport that's getting busier and more popular. I went out to the Nürburgring this year, and I couldn't believe the amount of people there. Apparently it was more people there than at the Formula 1.
So Rob, why is Lockwood so heavily involved in this championship?
Really through Matt Summerfield. We got involved with Matt Summerfield early part of this year, and we have obviously put a sponsorship package together for Matt, and he's got us involved in the championship. Part of our business is the MAN franchise. Obviously Matt is running an MAN truck, so there's a natural fit there, and we get quite a bit of support through MAN in Munich as well for Matt, so it all fits together very well.
Yeah, interesting. And you've got involved in the championship a lot beyond just the one track. You're sponsoring the safety truck and so forth as well.
Obviously the event here today is 30 years of truck racing. I was actually here 30 years ago in 1984 for the first one, and it just seemed to make sense because we're a local company to come back again and do it all over again. So it was really good actually to get the opportunity to do it.
Well, we couldn't go racing without all of our many supporters, so a big thanks. And also, of course, to the supporters that come and watch us trackside. Every bit as important. Everybody that makes up the British Truck Racing Association family, from sponsors, engineers, wives, girlfriends, spectators, the whole lot, just make the whole thing a superb experience. It's Adam Bint on pole position, but making a flying start is Ryan Smith from 3rd on the grid. Ryan Smith round the outside. Adam Bint, good to see him back in truck number 5. Well, we saw him at Thruxton. He was away for Pembrey. Somebody getting the turnaround there, kicking up the dust, but look at the gap that Ryan Smith has put on. It's the championship leader in Division 2. Simon Reed in 2nd in red, followed by Graham Powell. Graham won the first race. This is race 2 of 5 scheduled for Donington Park. Graham won Division 2 in race 1 from Ryan Smith and Steve Powell. Division 1, who are starting now, was won by Chris Levitt from Steve Thomas and Stuart Oliver. So this the reverse grid race. They've all made a cracking start. That's Ray Coleman bringing up the rear, the man we just heard from, the new driver, just settling himself in. Stuart Oliver gets a couple of wheels off on the dirt, but meanwhile this is the scrap for 2nd place in Division 2. Graham Powell makes light work of it, goes past Simon Reed. Reed the championship leader by 13 points coming into this round from Ryan Smith. Matt Summerfield leads Division 1 by 4 points coming into the event, and Matt losing out by losing 3 points to Chris Levitt in race number 1 of the meeting. As we look at Graham Powell, who's now got to get his head down. Graham had his 11th win. Race number 1 here at Donington was his 11th win of the season. It was a double at the Nürburgring, as I mentioned, for Ryan Smith taking his first wins. What better place to do it than out in Germany, that big fast flowing track side by side. in Division 1. Ricky Collett on the outside. Steve Thomas, the Sutton Coldfield racer, on the inside. Collett's got the grip on the outside, goes for the big burn up. Maybe a little bit of a clatter between the two trucks. 87, Ryan Coulson is going to be the first. He's got a little bit of damage. The first of the Division 2 trucks that the Div 1 boys are catching, and it's Matt Summerfield at the moment out front from Dave Jenkins, the MAN in black. Collett goes wide, that's going to scrub speed off. Thomas moves out of his way, uses the momentum, powers past, as too does Stuart Oliver in the Silver 7. Coming through as well is Ben Horn, who is in the mix. So, in truck with Dave Jenkins. Look at that style, so smooth. The 69 machine, the 2011 champion, has done lots of different sorts of racing, so well versed in whatever you put him in. He's quick, whether it's a big truck or a nimble racing car. He knows how to handle the machinery. Through goes the number 9 machine, unbeaten at Nürburgring, Chris Levitt, taking his tally to 6 wins in the first half of the season. That's the first half in terms of event rather than races. We're on the 5th event of the year. Matt Summerfield leads Division 1 though. Through goes Dave Jenkins. There is Chris Levitt running in 3rd place at the moment. Matt Summerfield with 4 wins in the first 4 events of the year, so trying to get on terms with Chris Levitt, who won the first race. It was Steve Thomas second from Stuart Oliver, and then Matt Summerfield. So coming down the straight, truck number 5, Adam Bint, coming under pressure here from Steve Rothery. Union flag atop of the car, looks on the, well, there's not much of an inside line for him to go through at Redgate. He's going to have to go a lot tighter. Out comes the back end, so superb truck control from him. Back in truck with David Jenkins. Look at the smooth style, chasing Matt Summerfield, the championship leader. So Matt Summerfield looking for another class win here. There's Ricky Collett in 95. And Matt Summerfield now starting to get into the Division 2 trucks. Just a reminder of the format. This is tight going into the old hairpin. Up into 2nd place now goes Chris Levitt in number 9. So Levitt in the Perry's truck chasing Matt Summerfield. But here comes David Jenkins about to have a go. Up into Schwab's corner. Levitt grabs the line and hangs on to 2nd place. These 3, the top 3 in Division 1. And as I said, they have to have their own battle. They have to catch and also pass the Division 2 runners, the less racy trucks, as it were, in terms of specification, who have a head start. So the race fans here get 3 races to watch. They get the Division 2 race going off first. They get the Division 1 race. They also get the Div 1 boys coming through the field as well. So it's triple value for money. As we go back to the race leader, Ryan Smith from Graham Powell. And look at Powell has certainly closed the gap after those opening laps. And remember, the grids are reversed from the previous race result. So Graham Powell won race 1. And he's had to come through the other 7 trucks in the Division 2 field, and he's done that, and he's catching Ryan Smith. Ryan wants to take his 3rd win of the season, and he's on a little bit of a roll now. So Ryan Smith in the Sisu. Great to see the 3 bonneted boys at the front of the field at the start, giving a traditional look to truck racing. They're the ones that people tend to associate with, particularly with this being an anniversary meeting. So Smith still out front. Graham Powell chasing hard. Graham's, after the Nürburgring, got himself up to 4th place in the championship. You might remember that he had 4 non-finishes out of the first 4 races at Brands Hatch. He managed to get the truck working for the 5th race at Brands Hatch in event 1. That's why he was away down on the championship. You're probably thinking, why am I talking about him being 4th in the championship with 11 wins under his belt? And that's the reason why, because of that disappointing Brands meeting. His home circuit as well, really piling the pressure on at the moment. And Ryan Smith, we go in truck with Ryan, out of the S's, down the Tom Wheatcross straight. We've got some back marker traffic looming, which I think is possibly Ryan Coulson in the Iveco Atkinson. Here's the battle between the Division 1 boys. Dave Jenkins piling the pressure on in black, the 3rd of the 3. It's Chris Levitt, so we've got the championship leader Matt Summerfield out front, Chris Levitt 2nd, David Jenkins 3rd, then it's Steve Thomas in white, Following Steve Thomas, truck number 7, Stuart Oliver, trying to close in on Thomas. Then Ricky Collett back at the other end of the straight at the moment. So this pretty orderly stuff at the minute, but the top 3 all circulating as Jenkins goes wide. All 3 circulating closely. Jenkins gets it back on track. You don't need me to tell you how hard he is trying to pedal that MAN. So here comes the race leader, who's pulled out a bit of a gap now over Graham Powell. So Powell ahead. Graham Powell some way now down behind Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith comes along exhibition straight. Great shot of him bottom right, looking into his mirror. Oh, a little bit of adjustment maybe there to his crash helmet, and comes down in towards the S's. Oh, and he overcooks it! Ryan Smith, the race leader. Now he's got 2 choices here, gravel or about turn. He's done the about turn, and I'm guessing he's lost the lead. He's back on track. He has lost the lead because coming through, that's Ryan Coulson, the back marker in 87. Matt Summerfield's there as well, but onto the last lap goes Graham Powell, who's been gifted. He was putting pressure on, he dropped back in the mid-stages of the race slightly, but now, with Ryan Smith, who's running in second place, having had that problem, he's in second. Now here come the Div 1 boys, and this is the conundrum for the Division 1 lads. They've got to deal with the Division 2 trucks and squabble amongst themselves. Jenkins is having a very good go. Here we go on board with Jenks, who's looking at the inside line. He's challenging Chris Levitt as they go through Hollywood and down the Craner curves for the last time here at Donington Park. How is this going to pan out? Join us after the break. Welcome back to Donington Park. Matt Summerfield looks like he could be on for another win. Massive pressure being applied by David Jenkins. We ride with David through Schwantz. Coming up towards McLean, still in Schwantz. There's the race leader Graham Powell, who's going to take another overall win by the look of it. Ryan Smith's coming under pressure. Matt Summerfield is there, currently in 3rd position in the race, but leading Division 1. David Jenkins is trying absolutely everything. He looks the most determined of the 3. Closes right in. Here we go. In truck with Matt Summerfield, championship leader, who's going to take 2nd position. Summerfield passes Ryan Smith. So Matt's up to 2nd. Is that going to give him breathing space over Chris Levitt? Levitt's coming down the inside as well. Surely they won't be able to pass into the S's. The race leader Graham Powell is going to take the checkered flag. Matt Summerfield is going to take a win in Division 1 from Chris Levitt. David Jenkins will take 4th and 3rd position in class. There's the checker for Graham Powell, win number 12 of the season. This is going to inch him closer to the championship lead. Here's the result. So a win for Graham Powell overall and Division 2. Div 1 goes to Matt Summerfield from Chris Levitt. David Jenkins 3rd from Steve Thomas, then Stuart Oliver and Richard Collett. Ryan Smith 8th at the end, 2nd in Division 2. Ben Horn 9th, Simon Reed on the podium in Div 2, Adam Bint 11th and Ryan Coulson in 12th.
Now your truck, it's running really well this season. I mean, you seem fairly unstoppable in your class.
It's running well. Didn't run at Brands. It kept breaking down. Went to Pembury, had a good Pembury, good Thruxton. Went to Germany, was absolute pants basically. We had issues upon issues with it. So we've resolved them, and we've come out now, and it's going really well.
Matt, what a fantastic race! Just talk us through that 3-way battle.
Three-way battle is. It was a 3-way battle, and the main battle was obviously for me to stay in front. Chris is predominantly faster than us, but just like positioning myself on the track strategically and that, all within rules and everything. Kept the lap times on the go, raced the wheels off. I'm so chuffed to win that race, mate. It's unbelievable. We spent a lot of money this year on hospitality and raising the profile of our team in the paddock. Over the winter we need to look back in the truck, go a bit faster, don't we? Because I think we're gonna have some trouble next year, I think, if we don't.
Chris, what a fantastic race! A great 3-way battle all the way, really.
Yeah, we got caught up at the start, right at the back, so it took about probably 3 laps to catch them. got past Dave, and just Matt was like proper holding his line. That's race. And then I think Dave had a bit of a kamikaze up this inside. Just there was no way he was going to stop. Rammed the brake, and we just had a slow puncher on the rear. So every time down the crane, as it started to go a bit, it was just happy to get it home in the end.
Now, this truck seems to suit circuits like this, flat out speed most of the way.
Yeah, I think at the start of the brands we were still learning the truck. The first time we'd really ever drove it at all, so it was just learning, and we did all right there. Then I think every race since we've been quicker and quicker.
So Dave, congratulations, an absolutely great race there for the Digraph Transport team.
Yeah, cracking race, podium position for us. It's probably too little too late for a championship fight for us this year, but our aim is to get right back to the cutting edge and end up winning races this year again.
Now this team, it never fails to provide some great spectacle of racing.
Yeah, we're a family-run team, with me heading it. We've been involved in truck racing for 30 years, right since the conception. Got 3 generations of my family here supporting me this weekend, and we're going to give it everything we've got this weekend.
Dave Jenkins never fails to deliver. Well, if you've never been to a British Truck Racing Championship event before, then you probably won't know that there's a lot more to see than just the racing. Each event sees a spectacular show truck display, and the one here at Donington Park, organised as ever by Steve Horn Truck Shows, saw nearly 200 magnificent trucks take to the circuit to entertain the crowds.
Yeah, why is Imperial Commercial so heavily involved in this championship?
It all started when Steve Thomas, obviously number 3 in the championship, he started the truck racing, so we obviously wanted to get involved and support one of our better customers. But then since that, we did the first one last year. Now it's on to this one. Yeah, great. I mean, we just love the idea of we've got used trucks on site now. So, it just makes it a lot better for the residual values. You've got the show trucks, how Horn's doing a great job with bringing all them in. And we want to just get involved and just lift the profile of DAF, really.
And it's a natural relationship, isn't it, between, because most of these teams are run by haulage firms who are your potential customers.
Yeah. No, and that's again, we want to promote our product, which is, we've got sort of 27, 26 dealerships, I think, throughout the country. It just all blends in, and who better to sell trucks to than people who want to actually watch and race around a track.
Race 4 of the meeting here at Donington Park. Brian Burt on the outside, Ryan Colson. This is the Division 2 boys coming up to the line for their start. Steve Rothery on the outside of row 2, already past Adam Bint. Graham Powell making a flying start. Very difficult conditions here on day 2 of our meeting, but it's a good start by Ryan Colson. He'll take some confidence by leading down into Redgate for the first time. The championship leader swarming all over his very loose rear end. Simon Reed's got a loose rear end as well in red at the back of the field. Now remember, these are reverse grid races. Graham Powell goes through into the lead. Colson down to second. Now in the previous race, Chris Levitt won Division 1, Ryan Smith won Division 2, Matt Summerfield was second in Div 1, and Dave Jenkins again on the podium in Division 2. Steve Rothery chasing Ryan Colson down the hill. We're going to have to look back. There's Ryan Smith. Here come the Division 1 boys, and Jenkins has got across in front in black. Ricky Collett was second. Here comes Stuart Oliver though, up into second place, side by side for 4. Oh, there was their contact, there must have been. And off into the gravel goes Stuart Oliver. Ben Horn's involved as well, so too was the number 9 truck of Chris Levitt. Now coming out of race 3, this is race 4 of the 5. The championship in Division 1 the gap is down to 1 point again. Matt Summerfield leads on 168 points. Chris Levitt on 167. Brian Burt looks up these red flags on the race. Well, not surprising. The multi-champion Stuart Oliver. I'm wondering and doubting whether Stuart's going to be able to take to the grid for the restart. So Ryan Colson gets a second go at leading off the line. Brian Burt to his outside in the bonneted truck. Adam Bint similarly bonneted but with the blue stripes on the inside. Steve Rothery's there as well. Graham Powell's got all the work to do. Simon Reed keeping a watching brief at the back. That might be a wise move. This is the view from Ryan Smith. Oh, and Graham Powell sideways across the track. Well, lovely pirouette. He'll get top marks for that, but he'll try and get fired up. He's got his wheels on the grass, which might give him a fair bit of wheel spin, but Graham Powell has got some work to do. But it's Adam Bint leading this group from Steve Rothery, then Steve Powell in truck number 3. Steve, of course, who took a win and fastest lap in the 5th race at Brands Hatch, the opening event of the year. Jenkins sideways, oh, and straight on. Jenks made such a good start first time. Now, can he get through the gravel? I'm going to say I doubt it from here. But he's the pro. He's going to try and keep the momentum going. Keep going, Dave, keep going. He's done it. He's got enough momentum. That is a remarkable bit of recovery driving from Dave Jenkins. I don't think his result's going to be all that good, but a finish after that, incredible. As we look at Stuart Oliver, who did get the truck sorted for this race. There's Matt Summerfield, who's got to stay ahead of Chris Levitt in number 9. Steve Rothery through. Steve Powell challenging hard down into the S's. Adam Bint's going to have a look, bumps over the curve, and Rothery, there must have been contact, goes into the gravel, spins it around. Steve Powell comes through. Now how they don't block the track, I don't know. Brian Burt's through okay. Rothery's got going again. Rothery was championship leader after Brands Hatch the opening round. Down the Wheatcroft straight. Here, coming through into the lead is going to be Ryan Smith. Took his 3rd win in the championship in the previous race, and he's gunning for it again, but coming under massive pressure here from Steve Powell. Stuart Oliver out front at the moment from Matt Summerfield. Ricky Collett turns in tight. Ben Horn goes through the gold truck. Ricky's just keeping it going. There is the number 2 machine of Ray Coleman. What a baptism of fire. Well, fire's probably the wrong phrase to use, isn't it, with this weather? But what a difficult debut for conditions-wise for Ray Coleman, who's acquitting himself so well as a newcomer and starting off the back of the grid just to see how everybody else sorts out. And that's a very wise thing to do. Richard Collett up the inside, but meantime the championship leader by 1 point is Matt Summerfield. It's 1 point for every place, so it's pretty straightforward. I think the truck championship officials have got that exactly right. It means that the race fans, if they've got an interest in it, can follow it very easily. You just count back the number of places to your arch rival, and then you can see how you're doing race on race as Richard Collett chases Ben Horn. It's Ben's dad, Steve, incidentally, that organises those massive displays that we see here. Graham Powell through on the inside of Brian Burt, so Graham making a good recovery. Through goes Ben Horn, followed by Richard Collett. He's so tricky out here today on the run up towards Coppice. And then they've got the straight. The good point is now we're into the stage of the race where things are a little bit more sorted out. And out front, it's Ryan Smith who leads this one. Steve Powell in 2nd position. And Ryan Smith's got a bit of breathing space. Is he going to be able to take a 4th Division 2 win? It'll be the first time we've seen him win on TV. Here comes Matt Summerfield. Summerfield just ahead of Arch Championship rival Chris Levitt. Welcome back to Donington Park, race 4 of the 5-race meeting. Richard Collett passes the Division 2 Championship leader, Simon Reed. Simon, whose points leading the championship, being eroded a little bit by Ryan Smith, who is still out front. There's Chris Levitt leading Division 1. Matt Summerfield 2nd in Div 1, passes Steve Powell in the black 3 truck. Here's the race leader though, Ryan Smith. Now, as I mentioned, Ryan's taken class wins, but he hasn't had an overall win yet, and clearly he wants to emulate Graham Powell. But as you can see, Chris Levitt is closing in. We're into the closing stages of this race, about a lap and a half to go. Graham Powell going to be challenged by Stuart Oliver. Powell moves clear, sees Oliver coming through, and the Kelso-backed machine makes up another place. Oliver pretty much on his way perhaps to another podium. Ryan Smith, that back end really coming out. Here comes Chris Levitt. Here's Matt Summerfield. Remember those two, second and first in the championship. If they finish like this, the Division 1 championship standings will be equal going into race 5, our finale. So whoever wins race 5, assuming things stay the way they are, will lead the championship, leaving Donington Park for 2014. There's Ricky Collett, who's not had a great weekend by his standards. Of course, multi-winner, veteran of the championship, twice, 2 wins this year. So through the S's for the penultimate time. And I don't think Ryan Smith's going to get the overall win here, because the pace at which Chris Levitt is catching him, Levitt's about 3 or 4 seconds a lap quicker. You saw the massive gap that we had at the start of the second race between the Division 1 and Division 2 runners in terms of a handicap. And this is great news for the crowd. Oh, not great news for Smith, who perhaps had an eye on the mirror, and through goes Chris Levitt, through into the lead. Ryan Smith still there in second. I was going to say it's great news for the crowd, because they're going to see a last lap move to secure the race win. That's exactly how the handicapping should work between Division 1 and Division 2. And Chris Levitt has come through, and he's on his way to his 3rd win of the weekend. It means that so far Levitt will have only dropped 1 point. That was on the first race that we saw, race 2 of the meeting. There's Graham Powell being chased by Richard Collett. Graham at the moment ahead of his brother Steve in truck number 3. So Ryan Smith leading Division 2. Graham Powell second in Division 2, so he's done well after the shenanigans early on. But this man, Chris Levitt, only dropped 1 point so far during the meeting. Ryan Smith has only dropped 2. There is Ryan, who's closing in on Simon Reed. I think if Reed gets another finish in race 5, then he will lead Division 2 leading away. But it's all really tending to work out towards the last 3 events of the year, and I can guarantee we're going to have a nail-biting finale at Brands Hatch. But here comes Chris Levitt down the straight. Are we going to see Matt Summerfield in blue make the move and try and come through? I think that's Adam Bint that they're coming up maybe to lap. They're not going to get time to do that. No, Matt Summerfield is using his head here. He knows he can't win the race. He doesn't risk a rash move on Ryan Smith, who will finish second. There's Adam Bint going across the line. He's 14th, 7th in Division 2. But it's the checkered flag through the haze for Chris Levitt, who takes the win. Levitt the winner. Ryan Smith wins Division 2. 3rd place in the race going to Matt Summerfield, 2nd in Division 1. Stuart Oliver takes the Division 1 podium. Then it's Richard Collett from Steve Powell. Steve 2nd in Div 2. Then Ben Horn and Simon Reed. Graham Powell, David Jenkins. Brian Burt in 11th from Ryan Colson. Ray Coleman 13th from Adam Bint, and Steve Thomas.
Chris Levitt, another race, another victory. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I think that so far was the best race of the weekend. We actually had something happening, and it just proves, like, you had 3 of us there, probably not even like 10, 15 centimetres apart. We never touched once, so it just shows you can do it without having any contact.
Ryan, another great race. Well done.
Yeah, off the start, first bend, a bit unfortunate, but I caught Graham Powell in his side panel, so I spun him, so maybe not a true reflection how it may have been, but then I picked Steve Powell off, and then got a clear track, and the track was getting worse as we was going round, but I managed to press on. I opened a gap and got home. Chris Levitt caught me with about a lap to go and overtook me, so all good. Another victory, very good.
Well, 3rd in Division 1. Congratulations, Stuart Oliver. What a race.
Yeah, it was great. You know, the start, I thought that was, first corner, that was the end of it. But unfortunately, I was stuck, and I had to get towed out. So the regulation stated that you can start in your grid position because it was red flagged. It's not what we want to do, but it paid off. I got a good start the second time, and off I went, and it was certainly an interesting race. I did think I would have my work cut out to keep Chris and Matt behind, but I managed, but it was just I have just a little bit more grunt and a bit more grip than what I can get out of mine, and but the next race is still coming.
Steve Powell, what a race. Many congratulations on another podium.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's well deserved. We've had a hard weekend. The claps went yesterday. The mechanics worked really, really hard. So for us, nice to get a result. And I thought I lost it in this game with my brother, but unfortunately he had a bit of an error after that. So we got the second place. So all good.
I mean, the winner, Ryan, was, he was way out in front. Were you trying to close him at the end?
I was really only about a second off him a lap in the wet, but it's a lot quicker, to be fair. And all I wanted to do was just finish. I mean, I was in second. I couldn't see no one behind me, so I was just trying to stay on the track. And as the race got on, it just got slipperier and slipperier. The last 3 laps were awful. So, really happy in the end of it.
I mean, obviously Matt and his team are, they're pretty good at this anyway. But I guess being a Man dealership, you can bring some extra support to them.
We certainly can, and we have done. And certainly, this weekend, for instance, we've got around about 300 customers down here that's getting involved with the sport, getting more interest into the sport, and generating the interest that there is in the UK, and certainly with the MAN product. I mean, there is a resurgence of interest this year in 30 years of truck racing in the UK. But we've got truck operators, we've got owner drivers, we've got truck drivers that are as important to this industry as it is. And for ourselves, being a truck dealer, really couldn't have a better place to be this weekend. So we're really, really keen to support it, and will continue supporting that.
These gruelling race weekends, 5 races, and this is the 5th and final race here at Donington Park, opening the second half of the British Truck Racing Association Championship season. Ryan Coulson starts on pole position. Brian Burt in the bonneted truck alongside. We're missing Graham Powell, so Simon Reed on his own. Steve Powell and Ryan Smith is there. The lights are on. The rolling start about to get underway. They cross the line, lights out. Ryan Coulson makes another great start. This is going to be great for his confidence to lead from pole position and down into Redgate the first time. That's going to be the most nerve-wracking bit, and at some point you can expect Ryan to be up there and challenging for class podia, side by side between Steve Powell and Simon Reed, the championship leader. Ryan Smith, who's closing in on Reed all the time, is back in 5th. You can see how much spray there is for him to deal with, and such it is that he's still in 5th position out of the 5 runners who make the start in Division 2. So down through the Craner curves, and it's Coulson from Burt. The wet conditions a terrific leveller in terms of the acceleration that we get. And talking of acceleration, look at David Jenkins from outside front row. Steve Thomas in second. Thomas having a relatively quiet meeting so far. Picked up second in race 1. 2 fourths, a 3-point score in race 4, not so good. And Matt Summerfield's off on the dirt. Summerfield drops right back, and that could be the championship lead going down the Swanee for Matt Summerfield, because he's tied with points coming into this race with Chris Levitt. So whoever wins this race whoever finishes ahead in this race between Levitt and Summerfield will leave Donington Park with the championship lead. So at the moment it's Advantage Levitt in truck number 9. He's chasing down the 7 truck of Stuart Oliver, multi-champion, but it's Simon Reed who's come through to lead the Division 2 runners very gently into the S's. There is so much machinery there to slow up. Ryan Smith has come through to second in these opening laps. It's Ryan Coulson third. So the 2 Ryans splashing through the water here. There's a change now happening towards the back. Steve Powell looking on the inside of Brian Burt. Brian's had a dogged first couple of laps, but I think he's going to find himself down in 5th place before too long. Ryan Coulson still there in 3rd place, so Steve Powell up to 4th. Extremely difficult conditions, and here come the Division 1 runners. It's going to be difficult for them in these very wet conditions to make up the ground on the Div 2 boys. Chris Levitt's over the dirt. Matt Summerfield has caught right up with these boys. Summerfield's right on the back end now of Stuart Oliver. And Chris Levitt's not getting away. I quite thought after Summerfield had that moment on lap 1 that he would be lost by Chris Levitt. But it's David Jenkins out front. Steve Thomas piling the pressure on as well in the 33 truck. So these guys desperately trying to reel in the Div 2 boys. Ben Horn's next, followed by Chris Levitt. Here's the view as they come through McLean's. You can see the undulations here on the circuit and the difference between what was in the background there, the main straight, and then the hill that they come down from Hollywood into the Craner curves, down into the old hairpin. Then they start the climb back towards the home section of the circuit, through McLean's, up into Coppice, where these trucks are at the moment. Simon Reed and company away down the road, and Ryan Coulson being challenged here by Steve Powell, who's got the inside line. Well, Coulson's very much aware that Powell's trying to come through, but Powell decides that not enough momentum, he might not have enough brakes in the wet to do it, so he's going to content himself with 4th position and then try and make the move when it's safe to do so. Here are the 2 leaders though, coincidentally 1st and 2nd in the championship. Simon Reed leads Ryan Smith. 3rd and 4th, here comes Coulson, followed by Powell. Welcome back to Donington Park. Stuart Oliver looking at the back end of Steve Thomas's truck. You can see the Division 2 boys are now being caught, but it's David Jenkins after that lightning start that's out front. Chris Levitt second. Levitt has a look up the inside, all speculative, back out to the racing line, and this is all going to be about momentum for Levitt coming out of the S's and down the straight. Stuart Oliver 3rd in class, followed by Steve Thomas. Matt Summerfield's going to pounce here, looks to the outside line. Summerfield gets a good run out of the S's. It's a long way round the outside at Redgate, and Summerfield's going to see if he can do it. Here comes Ryan Coulson from Brian Burt, 4th and 5th in Division 2. Burt keeps to the outside line. Dave Jenkins goes through in cab with Dave Jenkins. You can see here, great shot of Jenkins not only at work, but you can see the very slightly drier line made by the trucks in front. Spray coming on the windscreen. Jenkins in the black 69 machine picking them off, but he's got right in his mirrors Chris Levitt. Brian Burt stays wide, allows the Division 1 guys through. Great respectful driving as Jenkins goes through on the inside of Ryan Coulson. Coulson sticks to the outside line as well. Stuart Oliver is coming up to play and looking for 2nd position. There is Chris Levitt in number 9. He's going to take the championship lead if he stays where he is. And at the moment, it will be by 2 points from Matt Summerfield. So Summerfield, championship leader, coming here today, but getting involved and looks up the inside. Summerfield wants to retain the championship lead, and he was having a very robust look there at the inside of Stuart Oliver. I'm reminded of the race at Pembrey, where the two actually went bang side by side into each other at the crossing point at Pembrey. Some very robust racing. These guys do get stuck in. These are the overall race leaders. Ryan Smith chasing Simon Reed, who's still the race leader. So Reed still running well. Back to the Division 1 battle. And remember, these guys are trying to close in on the Division 2 runners up front. Chris Levitt piling the pressure on. Matt Summerfield still back in 4th place in class. Nice to see a clear pit lane. So no drivers having gone into retirement thus far. Have lost a couple of trucks to mechanical gremlins through the meeting, and not surprising given the conditions, as Matt Summerfield again will try and have a look at Stuart Oliver in the Kelso truck. But this is the Division 1 lead. David Jenkins in 69, I'm pretty sure, actually looking for his first win of the year in class, and coming under massive pressure, as is Simon Reed. Couple of lengths actually separating Reed now from Ryan Smith, who's looking for 3 wins on the bounce. Took a brace at the Nürburgring, so he's looking for career win number 5. Simon Reed, who took 3 wins at Brands Hatch at the start of the year, has been very fast, very consistent. But here comes Ryan Smith, looks at the inside line, back out to the racing line, the outside of the circuit. Smith giving notice of intent on Reed here. They've got a huge lead. You can't see the Division 1 boys anywhere. Ryan Smith's got the fastest lap once again. He did that too in race 4, and he's going to have a look at the inside, gets a slingshot out of the S's and comes through to take the lead side by side. Surely he's got the line down into Redgate, and Ryan Smith goes through, and he is the overall leader once again. Simon Reed down to second. Now, has Simon Reed got anything in his armoury to come back at the new race leader? This is the view from position 1. Ryan Smith, now he's had those 2 wins at the Nürburgring, he's making a real habit of it. So both he and Graham Powell, consistent winners. Of course, we've had Simon Reed winning in class as well. And Chris Levitt's been passed by Summerfield. Where did Matt Summerfield come from? Has Levitt got a problem? Because Matt Summerfield has come through to second in class. Levitt's back on the case. Summerfield here. This is the championship lead. This is all about a single point lead at the moment for Matt Summerfield as they leave Donington Park. But ahead of them, David Jenkins looking good for a win. Jenkins trying to hunt down Steve Powell, who's running third in Division 2. I wonder what happened between those two. Simon Reed still has not given up the hunt, as he's still very much in it. And right over the rear end of the lead truck, Ryan Smith. Smith's best lap 1:47.3. Simon Reed 1:48.1 on his best lap, but we see him keeping pace. That was the inboard view from Dave Jenkins, who's got 3 or 4 truck lengths at the moment over Matt Summerfield in truck number 1. Summerfield with the 1 win in race 2, 4th in race 1, 2 second places in races 3 and 4. The championship lead seesawing between himself and Chris Levitt. Or the gap is, at any rate, as we go back to the race leaders coming out of the S's and down the straight once again. Ryan Smith is still there. Smith crosses the line. It looks like it's going to be a Division 2 outright win here, because they are on the last lap at Donington Park, which is just under 2 miles. And Ryan Smith here, well, I said in the previous race he hasn't had an outright win yet. This could be it for him. In truck with Dave Jenkins. Jenkins taking his place at the front of the field again. His many fans, his family are going to be delighted about that. He's still out front. Summerfield's got his mirrors full of his arch rival Chris Levitt. And down the Craner curve, Simon Reed's going to have a look on the inside as they come into the old hairpin. He realises he's too far back, goes to the outside line. Well, the Reed freight truck is really piling on the pressure and giving us a terrific race here with Ryan Smith. As we always say, the wet's a great leveller. Smith's been quick in the wet, he's been quick in the dry, and he's given us some great racing. Comes into Schwantz, and then we'll turn right into McLean's. We'll keep our eyes open left and right to see whether Simon Reed's going to go through. Reed's still a length down. Here come the Division 1 boys. It's going to be another Division 2 outright win. The format that the British Truck Racing Association have come up with is absolutely spot on. You can have a Div 2 winner, but we often see the Div 1 boys coming through. It's a thrill either way, and it's going to be a big thrill for David Jenkins. He's going to be back surely on the top step of the podium. He comes out of Coppice. Matt Summerfield, the championship leader, is going to hang on. It's going to be a single point between Summerfield and Levitt leaving Donington Park. But here comes Ryan Smith. Smith is going to close the gap down to 6 points on Simon Reed, who's chasing him out of the S's. He puts the pedal to the metal, and he'll see the checkered flag, which is the reward. His first overall win and his 5th class victory in Division 2. Simon Reed, great drive into second, and David Jenkins wins Division 1. Matt Summerfield second, and retakes the championship lead ahead of Chris Levitt. So here's confirmation of that result. A win for Ryan Smith, his first outright win, his 5th class win. Simon Reed second. David Jenkins is victorious in Division 1 ahead of Matt Summerfield and Chris Levitt. Stuart Oliver 4th. Steve Powell second in 3rd in Division 2 for Ricky Collett. Then Steve Thomas and Ben Horn in 10th place. 11th goes to Brian Burt and 12th to Ryan Coulson. Fastest laps, Levitt and Smith.
I'm just going to try and get a word with our overall race winner, Ryan Smith. He's been trying all day in the rain to win a race outright. Ryan, many congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. That was hard work.
Yeah, I mean, he pushed you really hard towards the end.
If you look at my cab, I can't even see. There's that much condensation, I can't see. I couldn't see until then. Simon Reed then, that's the fastest I've seen him all season. And to be fair, in this last chicane, I had to go in defensive mode because he was going to have a dive. And I thought, I'm not doing this on the last lap again. But fair credit to Simon, I tell you what, he must have drove his heart out then. Because I would give everything I'd got, and I had no more if he was going to come back.
second overall. I mean, you were pushing him hard, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty full on. That was, I must admit, and it's just trying to make the dairy move because I've just got that feeling I'll be on the wrong side of the chicane somehow. Yeah, he drove spot on. I tried my best, like, but you know what I mean. A couple of times I thought, I might take the dive, but it's just that wet off the line. You know what I mean? It's to dare to do it, you end up on the ice rink.
So Division 1 winner David Jenkins, I mean, that was a close race right to the wire.
Yeah, no, Matt was coming at the end. Just a phenomenal end to a phenomenal weekend. I know I screwed up in race 2, but I've got all my friends, all my family, all my sponsors here. We've got a great crowd that have stuck through the rain, and just an amazing result. And to have Matt coming home behind me, to have Ryan win on the road. And I'm so pleased. I must have the proudest mum and dad in the world here today, and I'm just chuffed to bits for them. 30 years ago, I came to Donington as an 8-year-old boy to watch truck racing for the first time, and here we are today winning races still. I'm chuffed to bits.
At Summerfield, I mean, you were pushing hard right to the end, and you nearly had him, I guess.
Yeah, no, he's at the end of the day, mate. He's always ahead of the truck that's contending to win the championship, and as long as I was ahead of them, I fought hard to get past Chris, and well, that was just amazing, really. I think he missed a gear coming out of the chicane, poor bugger, and I just romped straight past him up the inside, like from behind him, past him, and in front of him, and he must have been fuming. Well, I'm just so made up, mate, to the whole weekend. I'm so proud of the team. I'm so proud of my family and all my friends and the sponsors that are here. It's just amazing.
Championship standings, Matt Summerfield 1 point lead from Chris Levitt as we go to Snetterton. Steve Thomas is third, Stuart Oliver fourth from Dave Jenkins, Richard Collett in sixth place ahead of Ben Horn. In Division 2, Simon Reed just 6 points clear of the new second place man Ryan Smith. Steve Powell third, Graham Powell fourth from Steve Rothery and Adam Bint.
This championship's getting really interesting now, all coming down to the last 3 rounds. We'll see you at Snetterton.